I read one of your posts, right? You made a post that was quite vulnerable.
Yeah.
Can I ask about that?
Look, it's a sensitive topic, and it's something that I'm still battling with on a daily basis. And you look at all great leaders and all great people, all great people that have built great things. They never offload the hard things, and everybody wants to offload the hard things. They only
Yeah.
want to do the easy things.
What about for
Yeah.
Bill? What's the personal milestone?
For me, it's a good question actually.
I guess to kick it off, like for this year, what's the plan? Like, how did you guys finish up last year? Did you hit what you were going for, and how things have changed for your targets for 2024? Is it very different?
It's interesting because targets will always move whenever you have some element of success, and success again is always subjective to an individual.
Yes.
The thing for us and the thing for me is always to sustain the amount of results, case studies, testimonials on the amount of volume that we deal with, the amount of clients that we have. If we can continue to do that, we will continue to shake the rim. That's the goal. I see business owners always, I want to get to X amount of revenue. I want to get to X amount of income. And it's like,
Yeah.
I used to do that when I was a sales rep. When I
Yeah.
got to 40 grand a month, I'd be happy. When I got to 50 grand a month, I would be happy. But
Yeah.
you're fighting against the clock. You're fighting against something that doesn't slow down, doesn't take weekends off, doesn't have kids, doesn't get sick, and doesn't ever not work. So you have to look at other avenues where it's not just about revenue, because I see a lot of companies that just focus on revenue, and that's how they start to fall off because you're playing a losing game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. What do you focus on if it's not, the metrics of that will help you sustain, right? Because I agree with you. Like, I think you focus on revenue, that's a losing battle at the end of the day. So
Yeah, for us, what I want to focus on is the productivity, and it's the consistency of the results that we get. It's the consistency of, you know, the resilience that people have. And, I think the business has kind of really shifted over the last kind of 18 months. The first 4 to 6 months was just about giving people education and giving them the words and giving them the word tracks. And, you create many mini builds. And what tended to happen was a lot of people shut off like a firework, and then they went to sustain it,
yeah,
and it's not necessarily just about what you do on the code. It's about what you do outside your code. It's who you are as a person, how you live your life. It's, the leadership qualities that you have outside of just, being on the sales calls.
yeah,
And I think that's where we're going to. That's the kind of focus that I have for 2024.
yeah.
I actually got one of my team to run the numbers for the first week in January. We had over 24 new case studies, testimonials, and results in the first week of January. So
Wow.
that's the
Okay.
kind of benchmark
Good.
that we want to be hitting every single week. That's where we
Yeah.
want to
Wow.
be. Consistency.
Okay. That's awesome. And you say, because I know attitude plays a big part in, how, especially how sales reps carry themselves, right? What do you think makes for a good leader, or what are the things that you do outside of sales calls
Yeah.
that gives that person that edge? Do you know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
is it? Because I've seen, like, I get an understanding of how you would do it, but how do you instill that in others, right? When maybe they're starting from scratch.
Yeah. Look at me with my cheap coffee. There you go. It's You can't fake it. The whole concept of you can fake it until you make it is a complete fabrication of a lie.
Yeah.
And I look at people, how they live their life. So someone asked me the other day, how do you actually hire for your team? How do you actually bring people into your organization? How do
It's a
you
good
actually,
question.
bring individuals in? And I don't look for skills. I look for who the person is. I look for how they live their life. I look for what they invest in. I look at how they, operate on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. Are they willing to go above and beyond? Are they just interested in hitting KPIs? If you're interested in just hitting KPIs, you're not going to work for me, because you're not going to be able to go above and beyond and to be able to be consistent on a weekly basis.
Mm.
So there's lots of stuff that go into a great sales rep. For me, I look at people that lead in their life, so they look after themselves fitness wise. They
Yep.
look after themselves spiritually, whether that's they believe in God or they believe in exterior forces in the universe, whatever it may be.
Mm.
Do they take care of their family? You know, are they someone that's going to make 10 grand on a month and then spend 9,500?
Mm.
How are these
Mm.
people? What are they looking for? What is the goals in their lives? What are they seeking? That's what I look for. I look for, like, all of those types of people will always be excellent at sales. I look at people then that have served in military, served in police force,
Yep.
have great grades, someone that has shown resilience on a daily, weekly basis, grown up and built that fortitude and that callous of the mind, as David Goggins says.
Mm.
That's what I look for when I see and when I'm looking out for great people and great sales teams.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm guessing that the team that you built has a lot of those qualities that keep improving as well, right? Like over a period of time. How do you keep them motivated to stay on that? Like, because it can be intense, right? Like, there's a certain level of intensity that you have to carry for a long period of time, right? You can sprint. A lot of people can sprint, but how do
Yeah.
you carry that level of intensity for a long period of time? Maybe as a leader, like from your perspective, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm pretty intense, as you can probably see.
Yeah.
And I don't sugarcoat a whole lot, and if I say it, I mean it, and if I mean it, I do it.
Yeah.
So, in order for your team to be able to sustain that amount of growth and to sustain that amount of fortitude to keep moving through everything, you have to be someone that people want to follow,
Mm.
and you have to be someone that people want to get behind. I remember when I was in military, and people would always ask us, run up that hill, and the person that would ask you to run up the hill couldn't run up the hill themselves. So ethically, you couldn't actually ask people to do something if you're not willing to do it.
If you're not
So
doing it.
for argument's sake, I jump in on all my coaching calls. I jump in on all my, teams outreaches and sales
Mm.
calls and everything else. I'm in the game with them every single day.
Yeah.
So they see that, and they see the effort and the commitment that I put in. Saturday, Sunday, I'm in the game.
Mm.
To the detriment of my own life and to the detriment of my own relationship sometimes, Patrick. And
Yes.
that's the can that I will kick down the road, and
Yeah.
that will be waiting for me down the line. I know that for sure. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
For
hard.
sure.
It's hard. You look at all great leaders and all great people. All great people that have built great things. They never just offload the work.
Mm.
They never offload the hard things.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to offload the hard things. They only
Yeah.
want to do the easy things. Whereas
Yeah.
I'm in the game today.
100%. 100%. One thing that I really respect for the true leaders is also the accountability that they hold for themselves. And I know
Mm,
you just mentioned it to the detriment of yourself. I read one of your posts. Oh man, it would have been maybe a couple of weeks ago,
sure.
or maybe before Christmas, right? You made a post that was quite vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
can I ask about that? Can we?
Sure. That's whatever you like.
Because and the reason why is I think even leaders themselves I've met a lot who don't want to show that side of them because it would
Mm,
make them weak, right? And
yeah.
I think it's kind of the opposite when you do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, how did that come about again to the detriment of your own, well-being and doing?
It's hard. It is a look. It's a sensitive topic, and it's something that I'm still battling with on a daily basis. And when you when you build something, Patrick, and people always say it's going to take everything you got.
Hmm.
Listen to a great man called Andy Frisella. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a great entrepreneur over in the US,
Yes.
and he says, and like, I listen to all the stuff that is some of that I highly respect, and he wasn't lying when he says to build anything great, it's going to take everything you got.
Hmm.
And when you're that way inclined and you have that type of mindset where you're going to go all in, it's very hard to be a dad. It's very hard to be a partner. It's very hard to, you know, be everything to everyone at all one time.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, lots of stuff falls through the cracks.
Yeah.
And I wasn't very strong. I wasn't strong enough to be able to hold all the plates in the air at one time
Yeah.
because a business, as you well know, is a newborn baby.
Yes.
And I look at my little girl, India, and I say to myself, when she was born, you couldn't leave her in a room for 2 hours on her own.
Mm.
You couldn't leave her in a room for 2 days on her own.
Yes.
It's not until they start to mature and start to grow up and start to eat solid food that you can start to hand them over to the grandparents or your friends or your brothers or your sisters, cousins, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And business is the exact same. And people just think that you make a lot of money and you help a lot of people, which means you can have a lot of free time. There's
Mm.
no free time.
Mm.
There's not. There's nothing free. There's nothing that you can just walk away for a day or two here because you're always on the blower. You're always in the game. You're always fixing problems. You're always putting out fires.
Mm.
And as a salesperson, you do that every single day. But as a business owner, you do that 20% extra on top.
Mm. Yes.
And it's hard to be able to separate it. And it takes a great person to be able to understand that and to be able to make peace with that and to be able to, communicate that and all that kind of stuff. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to do all of those things at one time. And my family and myself, we've drifted, which is hard pill to swallow.
Sure.
I don't know anyone that can keep the wheel spinning. It's hard. Like everything is
Mm.
hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep it all going at one time.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. I appreciate the conversation around that, because I think there's a lot of people that, and I learned this, early in my career in sales, is that, there's different, exactly like you said, right? There's different plates that you spin.
Yeah,
Sometimes if things go well in one area, it's to the detriment of another, and it's hard to keep that balance. Like, balance is non-existent
no,
if you want to
there's no there's no balance.
achieve.
There's no balance, and people are always striving to find balance.
Mm.
There is no balance. There is zero balance because if there was balance, I would have found it by now.
Mm.
There's no balance. There's no balance in any of this. It's like it's making peace with knowing that your family may only get 10% of you in a day.
Yeah.
Because I explained it like this: there's only enough emotional bandwidth to go around in a day.
Yeah.
Now, if I spend 10 hours coaching, training, sales, running payments, chasing payments, fixing issues, fixing problems, speaking with marketing, speaking with the sales team, speaking with fulfillment, building out new events, building out this, building out that, like that consumes 10, 12, 14-hour days.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And when you go home, the hardest switch that I've ever had, Patrick, was when I go to work every day, my job and my role and my headspace and my mindset is I'm going to kill somebody today.
Mm.
Always be in my mindset.
Yeah.
Whether I was playing sports, whether I was in military, whether I was in fitness, whether I was in the modeling, whatever I did, wherever I went, and it's probably to my own detriment, and clearly it is. My whole philosophy and mentality to get me to fucking turn on was that I'm going to war every day
Yeah.
because there's only so much that can go around. And in my head, I want to have as much as I possibly can to be able to give back to the people that I love. So to go from mentally in your head from a person that wants to, pull someone's esophagus out of their fucking throat to then, in a space of about 3 minutes, become dad
Yeah.
and to change nappies and to, hug and cuddle and all that kind of stuff. That was the hardest transition for me.
Yeah.
Because to be able to go to war every day, if you see people that play high level sports for the first hour after they're in the battle, like I used to be, you're completely mentally drained
Mm.
because it takes everything out of you.
Yeah.
And to be able to have that switch was really, really difficult. And I know a lot of people are going to feel that because they see that in their own life, to be able to go from someone who's handling shit every day to now trying to be something else.
Yeah.
That shift is really, really difficult for a lot of people. And I found it really difficult.
Yeah.
I still find it very difficult.
Sure. Sure.
It is a challenge. And I always say to people, like, everybody wants to be the best that they can possibly be,
Mm. Yeah.
And look, everybody wants to be, the best of the best. And I look at the business that we're in and the kind of space that I'm in, and I say to myself, not everybody gets a chance.
Mm. Yeah, that's true.
Not everybody gets enough zip to be able to even get a chance to be in the game, at the very top echelon of everything.
Yes.
And I'm very fortunate and I'm very, privileged to be in that category and to be in that place.
Yeah.
And you may only get one chance in your life. You may only get one chance to be really great at anything. And look, I feel we're kind of in that position now where we've worked our face off for
Mm.
a large amount of time to be even in a conversation,
Yeah,
So
for sure.
to be able to spin all the wheels and to be able to spin all the plates, it
That's
is
tough.
difficult, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations to, I think, the team that you have, right? To at
Mm.
least to be able to support you through that, I imagine,
Yeah.
and keep the keep the momentum going. Um, and I guess shifting a little bit here, what would be the biggest difference in your business that you're going to implement in 2024 that maybe you had a little bit of or didn't have from last year? Is there's some big shifts that you're thinking? Like besides the
The big shift.
core offer that you have, right?
Yeah. We have the core offer, which is our elite mentorship. Then we have the family mentorship, which was always designed to help people that were like really struggling, in the first stages of their sales career. I think a big portion of us is doing everything better,
Mm.
but more.
Yep.
I see people all the time. They have to keep shifting the needle and they have to keep shifting the Rolodex all the time because what they have is not unique.
Mm.
Someone asked me the other day if they were thinking about building a business, and I said to him, since I started the Objection Box, we've had 24 people. The guys counted it the other day. Have a spin-off business off ours.
Cool.
And that's interesting because people think that, when they see us training and coaching and developing people, that it's easy and that all you got to do is just, give them the words and X, Y, and Z. So we train people so fucking effective that they just think that it's easy to go off and replicate it and implement it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's not because you said something to me there a minute ago, which was very, very important that it's not just to shoot like a star, it's to be able to sustain it
Mm.
month after month after month after month.
Yes.
That's the hard part,
Yes.
and that's the difficulty. So to be able to sustain it and to be able to make it better, that's the goal always
Yeah.
for me. How do we make it better? How do we give more? How do we create better leaders? How do we create more people that are willing to take things and run it and make it,
Yeah.
unique and whole? And that's the key because what we have is a USP,
Mm.
the unique mechanism that ultimately means that what we do is not going to be found anywhere else.
Yeah.
That's the key to having a sustained business, in my opinion. Have something that not everyone
Not everyone
has.
has.
Like anyone can build a sales agency where you're placing sales reps and stuff like that. And instead of charging the typical 25%, you're going to charge 19%. That's not a USP, my friend.
Yeah. It's a commodity.
It's
It's a
not going
pricing
to
play.
make that
Mm.
people can see. Yeah.
Yeah.
All you're going to do is place each other down the rabbit hole to the end. Do you have something that's so unique that people can't find anywhere else? And
Mm.
that's been the key for us to sustain the growth and to kind of sustain the relevance of what we're at and where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. And I mean, I'm sure you see a lot of uh, the coaching businesses out there that most of your crew are working in. And
Mhm.
I'm sure you'll see like even the best of the best, right, struggle with being able to sustain those things. Where do you kind of see the state of play at the moment in terms of either the coaching industry or the remote selling space? Like where do you see it? Do you think it's improved a lot from like last year? Because I personally didn't really see much improvement. If anything, like I saw quite a bit of a decline. So what's your sort
There's
of
a
take?
decline. There's a big decline because everyone and anyone thinks that because they've learned from this, that, and the other person that they have an entitled attitude to be able to go and coach people.
Mm.
And I think a lot of people are and people could even say that I'm in that position where you have, a period of success and then you coach people. But the difference between me and a lot of people is that I can back it up day after day.
Mm.
And a lot of people want to coach people without actually doing it and sustaining it and to be able to consistently go month to month, back to back. So I think a lot of people are looking at it as a money grab,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Mm.
people are, in my opinion, wrecking the industry. I think a lot of people are in a position where they see an easy touch for people.
Yeah.
The issue that you have is that all that it's doing is damaging the reputation of the industry. I think the industry is getting stronger, but I think the people that are trying to lead the industry are getting weaker.
Yeah. How do you mean?
That's what I think.
In what way?
How do I mean? Because I see a lot of people that haven't done what they say they can do
Yeah. Okay.
and can't back it up and kind of validate it. I see a lot of people, hiding testimonial names and pictures and shit like this. We've never done any of it.
Mm.
We had a marketing company one time, Patrick, when we started,
Yeah.
and they blocked out someone's name, and I fired them on the spot.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
we're never, we're never going to be that company because it just breeds insecurity
Yeah.
and it breeds question marks. So there's a great analogy. Cream will always rise to the
Hmm.
top, and I see a lot of people coming in to the bottom in the middle, and they're all fighting it out.
Yeah.
And I think it's diluting the quality of what this industry needs, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would agree with that. I think the money grab is definitely one of those things, that, yeah, unfortunately it kind of happens because of the resistance of getting in and getting started is pretty low, right?
Yeah,
So I think that's the case. Given across different industries, it's like you said, it's kind of like a bit of a weak leadership that happens. Is there a particular like niche in the space that you think have good leaders and are going to progress forward more than another in the next 12 months? Is there one that stands out to
um,
your guys?
as in industry,
Yeah.
I think the coaching and online services and B2C offers will always do well.
Mm,
I think they're like, and I get hit up probably 5 to 10 times a week for people looking for closers.
yeah.
And all I say is show me your business. And you can spot a good business from a bad business, Patrick, a mile away. And you'll
Yeah.
know more than that than I do. And it's the same thing with sales training. It's the same thing with, any business that you're developing people. If you can show and you can consistently put up numbers and not just revenue numbers, because everyone just thinks numbers are revenue.
Yeah.
Not. It's about consistency. It's about what people perceive you to be. It's about your referrals. It's about people that stay on. It's about people that, will shout your name 6, 12 months after you work with them.
Mm, yeah.
That's what it takes, in my opinion. That's what it takes in terms of consistency leading from the front.
Yeah.
And the greatest industries that I've ever seen are always going to be insurance,
Mm,
is always a great industry. Um, Anything that you can provide a service that people actually need. And I think all the B2C offers, that are actually producing and are giving people the outcome that they want and not fabricating, numbers.
mm,
Because we've seen that in the last couple of weeks with the FTC
yeah.
cracking down on people, the FTC pulling back
Yeah.
the curtain on people's exaggerated claims.
Yeah.
And that's only going to get worse for people, because people are, selling people on the idea of what they're going to get them. And we've kind of gone back to front, Patrick, in regards to I don't need to sell you on what we're going to do. I'm just going to show you what we've already done.
Mm, mm.
That's the difference.
Yeah, yeah. That's. I
You
mean,
know.
that I noticed that a lot in obviously in your marketing and the content. You were talking about B2C. Like, what areas in there do you think I guess are standouts in the B2C markets?
Yeah, I like coaching and development, whether that's helping other
Mm,
people create online businesses and stuff like that. I've always liked those industries. I've always liked sales training.
yeah.
I've always steered away from cryptocurrencies and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
I've always steered away from that type of stuff. I've always kind of leaned towards, can you help someone else create financial freedom?
Yeah. Okay.
If you
That's
were
good
in
as
that
well.
position, if you're in that kind of game and you're helping people, whether that's property, whether that's buying laundromats,
Mm,
like Cody Sanchez,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
people at that standard and people at that level will always do well because they've done it, they've consistently done it, and they can consistently put up the numbers and they can consistently show you hundreds and hundreds of people that have gone through the process and the programs and the coaching and development and come out the other side and actually won.
Yeah.
Those are the people you want to work with, and those are the people you want to work for. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
not a 22-year-old kid who's showing you how to use trading and shit like this.
Yeah.
That's not.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean they sound. I know they sound pretty sound type of office to get around for sure. I mean, I see a lot of sales reps that do really well, in those types of industries as well.
Yeah.
But I guess on
Feel sorry for a lot of them, feel sorry for a lot of the sales reps because a lot of them are struggling, where when I came into this industry in 2021, January 2021, compared to where the industry is now,
mm,
there's probably an extra, like 300% increase in the amount of salespeople that are in the industry.
yeah,
It's great for me. It's great for me because they're all needing to be trained and they're all going to have to get trained if they're going to be able to sustain my guys' reputations and to be able to consistently put up numbers like my guys do. But the issue that they have is that there's not enough great accounts. There's not enough great businesses. There's not enough great offers
mm,
that people can go to. And unfortunately, a lot of these salespeople don't want to compete and they're going to get smashed and they're going to get busted up, And
yeah,
the problem that we've had, Patrick, for the last 3-4 years is everyone promises the sun, the moon, and the stars.
mm,
Give me 10 grand in 10 weeks and I'll get you on a 10K
yeah,
offer. All of those are going to go away, as we've seen with the FTC. All of those are going to get cramped down.
yeah,
So a lot of people coming into the industry that I've noticed over the last 18, 24 months are bitter, angry, disappointed, and frustrated
mm,
because what they were told isn't what it is.
yeah,
And you have to compete every day in order to sustain an offer, to be able to get a better offer, and to be able to get to the income that you were told you were going to get to.
yeah.
So I feel sorry for a lot of salespeople, unfortunately.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But again,
I mean, I see a lot of
it's up
sales
to,
reps bouncing around from different offers because I mean they
yeah,
have to, in a lot of cases to
yeah.
be able to, to sort of sustain well their level of income as well, right? And so I think that's an important thing. What do you think?
But think sorry,
Yeah,
just think about it. Like if there's if you think of the Premier League, right?
mm,
How many teams are in the Premier League? There's only 20.
20, yeah,
How many great accounts do you know in the industry? 20 tops.
there's only a handful
Like I mean, great
consistent.
accounts where the marketing is on point,
Yeah,
fulfillment is on point, consistency of leads, consistency of calls, consistency of follow up systems and structures and everything else.
yeah,
Let's say there's 20.
yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
There's not many.
Like,
There's
and
only a
let's
handful.
say
Yeah,
each of those accounts have 3 to 5 sales positions.
mm,
It's only 60 spots, give or take.
yeah. For the good ones, yeah, for sure.
6,000 sales reps plus. You know what I mean? So they're all fighting for the same top spots, and the sad reality is the top spots are going to go to the top reps.
Mm.
That's how it goes. And if you're not the top rep, you get what you get, and that's it. That's how it works.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, 100%. I would agree with that. For sure. What do you think? I mean, I guess from a sales rep perspective, because we talked about
Yeah,
at the beginning about it's not just you don't just train them on like a script, or you don't just train them on how to deal with objections. And I think we talked about that a while back. Um,
yeah,
what are the things that you do you think they have to have already so that they can become better leaders? Because you can train them on those things, right? So your attitude and all that sort of stuff. But what do you think internally that people have to have, like either a quality or something that would stand out to you if you were, maybe to bring them on your team or something like that? Do you know what I mean? Like what is that
yeah.
look like?
For me, it's like, what have you done that's hard in your life?
Mm,
Like, what have you gone through? Show me something where you've actually given it time, energy, resilience, and you've actually achieved something. That's what I'm looking for.
mm,
I'm looking for those types of people. I'm looking for people that didn't have an easy life.
yeah,
Because if you've had an easy life, and I have people in my organization, and not my organization, but in my trainings, and they've had good lives, easy lives. Mom and dad busted their back,
mm,
and they had everything they needed. They went to grade school, private school, had a great education, and didn't want to become a doctor and just saw sales as an easy way to make money.
yeah,
Now, when you come into sales and you're dealing with people every single day, and you're dealing with frustration, you're dealing with objections, you're dealing with hesitations, fears, limitations, and everything else in between, and you don't have the mental fortitude, you don't have the lead that's missing in your pencil to actually go for somebody and to actually help them overcome their own
yeah,
fears. Um, those types of people get busted up. You know what I mean? Those types
yeah,
of people get busted up because they don't have the resilience of having setbacks, having knockbacks, having frustrations, but also still being able to keep going.
yeah,
That's what I look for. Those are the right people that are going to make big
Mm.
in sales.
Yeah, for sure. Do you find that obviously in your team? I think that's what you'd be looking for. Is that a common thread amongst like your top like students
Yeah,
and top sort of reps that
yeah.
you?
I always say people that have done big stuff, meaning like, show me where you've actually failed but kept going,
Mm.
and not just kept going like you fell and then you got up and you hobbled on. I mean like sustained. You
Yeah,
fell and you kept going.
yeah,
You ranked 10K.
yeah,
I mean like over and over and over again. People always look at what we've done and what I've done, Patrick, and perceive it to be successful, and I get more embarrassed than anything,
sure.
and that's that's the sign of someone who is never content.
Mm. Yeah,
And I've never been content in my life, which again is a detriment to my own personal life. But anyway,
yeah. You're a competitor.
um,
You compete like every day, right?
you can just compete. So I look for people that have competed in their
Mm.
life and who are willing to compete every day.
Yeah.
If you're willing to compete in sales every day, you're gonna be successful. Reason being because most people don't want to compete, Patrick.
Mm. Yeah.
Most people, for the first sign that it gets hard, they actually pull back.
Yes.
So if you're a winner and you want to win, and that's not just making money, it's about, are you willing to compete every single day to get ahead? You're always going to be successful in sales, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good trait to have, I think. Yeah, spot on. That's kind of the common thing that I see. And also, as they transition to other things that they want to do in their life, whether that's, get into business for themselves or do any of those things, I think like those things are important, right?
Yeah.
And it carries a lot of weight. Um, where do you see for this year, like the business going? Like, what's the aim for you guys as a team, as a business? What does that look like?
Yeah, for me, my biggest aim is to make sure that all of my team are financially taken care of
Hmm.
first. The second biggest thing for me is, in order to be able to do that, I got to train and coach close to 2,000 people this year.
Right. Okay.
That's what
It's
I
a good
want to
number.
do, and I want to be able to have the ripple effect of that. My goal is not to make a ton of money. It's just not. My goal is to make sure that in 5, 10 years time, or 15 years time, when I have enough, I'm 31 years of age. When I hit 40, I may say to myself, "Fuck this, I'm out." So that's 9 years. And I want my girls to see the ripple effect that I have had in this industry and on other people's lives.
Mm.
That's my biggest goal.
Yeah.
And I want people to be financially free.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to have the stress, the anxiety, the worry, you know, the damage that not being financially free does to
Does.
a family.
Yeah.
That's my biggest goal. We had that when I was young. We had that. My mum had a really successful business and is still successful. And 2008 came along and kind of crashed Ireland, like flattened Ireland,
Mm.
like everywhere else. And my mother got caught in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And for the next 10 years of my life, from 2008 to 2018, I could see the damage that it caused. I could see the frustration, the stress, the anxiety, the worry. I can see the cloud, I can see the darkness. And I know now, if my mother was more financially secure and didn't invest in properties that went from a valuation of 300,000, taking out a mortgage of 300,000, to now the property being valued at 60,000,
Mm.
and you're paying negative equity to 240,000, uh, she wouldn't have had all that blackness to follow her
Mm.
around. And she done the right things, and she done things that she was told to do and advised to do.
Yeah.
But I've always wanted to put myself and to have enough impact on the world to be able to make sure that people are financially secure. If they do that, then they don't have to go through the 10 years that we had to as a
Mm.
family.
Yeah.
That's my biggest goal. That's my biggest North Star.
Wow. Yeah. No, I think
And
that's really
that's where
cool.
I want to
Yeah, I think that's a great goal to have as like an impactful thing to have. What about
be. Yeah.
for Bill? What's the personal milestone?
For personal for me is, look, it's it's a good question actually. When you run something and you lead and you go from the front, you never think of yourself.
Mm.
As sad as that
I
is,
figured.
you never actually sit down and say to yourself, "What do I want out of all of
Yeah.
this?" I get my joy from helping others. I get my joy from seeing others. I don't get my joy looking at the bank account. I don't get my joy seeing how much sales we made. I don't get my joy from any of that. I get my joy from seeing people that were fucking dog shit, like worse than shit, turn into, an A player.
Mm,
Like that gives me the zip. That gives me the encouragement to keep moving forward. Another big thing for me is see my team do well,
mm,
and encouraging them to become leaders and encouraging them to take on more responsibility and to kind of lead their own stuff and to build their own stuff and to have great, opportunities in their life. That's where I get my zip from. That's where I get my motivation and encouragement from. Personally, for me, is I want to have more time with my family.
yeah,
Given a lot over the last, so from 2021 until 2024, I've given a lot of my life to it. 98% of my life has been to the business and to this organization and to this,
yeah,
environment. And it's paid off, yes. But also it has pulled me away from things that I love,
yeah,
So a big portion for me this year in 2024 is to have more holidays, have
yeah,
more weekends off. Pick my little girl up on Wednesday and bring her to her football training.
mm,
Pick my other little girl up and bring her to McDonald's or whatever.
mm,
Simple things like that for me are the encouragement. Couldn't give a flying fuck about flying private. Couldn't give a flying fuck about buying this car. Couldn't give a flying fuck about buying this mansion. Couldn't
yeah,
care less. As long as I can spend time with my family and I can give my family good things in life, that's the goal for me.
yeah,
That's the goal. Take care of my brothers, take care of my partners, take care of my parents, I should say, take care of my partner, take care of my kids. I'm good. That's me
yeah,
happy.
for sure.
I get my zip from that. I don't get anything from buying Rolexes
Mm,
or fancy clothes or five-star resorts and shit like this.
yeah,
All that stuff means nothing to me, to be very honest with you. I'm a big relationships guy, and
mm,
I'm a big giving back. If I can give back and I can build relationships, that's my goal for 2024.
yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that. I think that's I think we know. I know with the focus that you sort of go after. I think that being in the forefront of your mind, I think you'll do a lot of good things this year. And
Well, I'm old, Patrick. Like I'm not old, but like I passed that silly stage in life, where you're like 20 and you've got a load of money
yeah,
and you want to flaunt and you want to throw it
and
out
spend
and
it.
you want to show people that you're about it. I passed all that. You know what I mean? I was broke then.
Mm,
I didn't know what a credit card was until I was 25 years of
yeah,
age. I mean, I passed that stage of being silly with money. You know what I mean? My goal is to be able to make sure that kids are financially free
mm,
and be able to make sure that they have, everything that they need. Now, the other detriment effect of that is hard men create soft times.
mm,
Look, I'm a hard man, unfortunately, and I'll create soft times for my kids.
yeah.
But if I do that, where's their hardness going to come from? So that's the
That's
that's the kind of stuff that I'm always thinking about in life. When they're 20, 25 years of
yeah,
age and they're financially okay about things, and they've got a solid amount of money each.
yeah.
Where they're going to have the roughness from? I'm going to have to probably get a new something. But no, that's where I think.
Yeah,
I'm not 20 years of age. Wanting to show people that I'm about it. I'm 31 years of age. I'm a relatively young man,
mm.
but I passed that kind of weird
You
stage
pass
in
the
your life where
phase.
you want.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I
So,
think the same as
no,
you with my daughter. Anyway, I know my wife does as well. It's yeah, just making sure we raise a good human being, and we spend the
it's all hard, isn't it? Everything is hard, Patrick. And I've this year I'm doing a lot of reflection.
yeah,
And Jesus Christ, we're only into the 16th of January, and
yeah. I figured.
shit that I'm sitting with, it's
Yeah,
it's 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 hard. Everything is hard.
yeah,
Business is hard, sales is hard, life is hard, fitness is hard. Being everything for everyone is hard. All we're doing every day is as much as we can is trying to be the best that we can be.
yeah,
That's all we can do.
yeah, for sure. And as they say, you kind of choose your heart anyway, right? Because everything's difficult. You just choose what your version of it is on a day to day basis. Um, so I think, but like I think some great things that I always take away whenever we have a chat is I think more that mental fortitude of being able to sustain something, and to put obviously others at the forefront of your mind, and being able to just find that resilience and that leadership. I think that's like to me anyway. 2024. A lot of the buzzword I'm going to be hearing about is people leading other people, and that's
Yeah.
what's going to set up the year. sort of for all of us, I
Yeah.
think.
It's hard because I think for since I started in sales up until I built the objection box, I saw a lot of people just giving people stuff and hoping, wishing, praying that they were going to work with it,
Mm,
and it doesn't work, unfortunately. Because if that was the case, nobody would need mentorship or coaching or training or development because
yeah.
all the information in theory is out there.
Mm,
All the information is out there. There's more information than ever before on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever,
mm,
whenever. But the problem that people have is there's too much,
mm,
and it creates the insecurity that people have and live with every single day.
yeah.
And I seen that, like, if you look at the way the world is made up at the moment, Patrick, with the shit that's going on in it, from everything and anything,
Mm,
without getting too deep into the weeds about it, I think salespeople are a reflection of what we see in the world at the moment.
yeah.
Timid, not able to push through, not able to hold people's feet to the fire, not able to sit in uncomfortable situations,
Mm,
always looking for validation. All of these issues that we see in the world today are coming out in people's sales calls.
mm,
Everybody wants to be liked, you know. I never wanted to be liked. I just wanted to be loved by a
mm,
certain amount of people.
yeah.
I don't want to be liked by the masses. I want to be loved by the people that I get to coach and train. That's the difference. A lot of people don't have that internal work done, Patrick, to be able to say, you know what, fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm going to go further, and if you fucking move, brilliant. I'm with you every step of the way. And if you don't, then that's what it is. But you're going to stop yourself. I'm not going to
Mm,
stop you, and you're going to let yourself fail. I'm not going to allow you fail.
yeah.
It's up to you if you move forward or not. And a lot of people don't have that about them. A lot of people aren't able to do that, Patrick,
Yeah.
because with all the respect, you know, 18 to 25-year-olds grew up with this now.
100%.
They
Yeah.
grew up, communicating with people like
Like this.
this.
Yeah.
I grew up in a pub. I grew up in military. I grew up high level sports. I grew up with two brothers. I grew up in a small town, like where you have to actually articulate. You have to be able to, you know, keep
Hold your
conversations
own.
moving forward. You have to be able to stand and be able to have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of these people don't have that. I brought a guy into one of our programs, and he's about 10 years older than I. And he said to me, "Can you help me communicate with people?" And that really took me back. And I was saying to myself, for a person to ask that of me just shows where they've lived their life.
Mm,
If someone 10 years above me and us is not where they need to be, conversation flexibility wise, then that's an issue. That's a
exactly.
big problem that we have. It's a big issue that we have in this world. And my goal is to be able to give people back what they're missing, which is the strength to be able to get deals done and to be able to overcome people's fears.
Yeah.
If we do that consistently, 2024, like 2023 was, like 22 was, would be a great
Be a
year.
great year. Well, man, I wish you the best, Bill. It's always good to chat, man. I like our conversations.
Appreciate you, buddy.